Hello, everybody. Brett Mix here. Welcome to week 54 of the WCW vs. WWF Monday Night War. This is October the 28th, 1996, the 59th episode of Nitro, but the 54th week they go head-to-head. Nitro beats Raw for the 17th week in a row. The scores this week were 3.9 for Nitro, 2.0 for Raw, so almost a record rating for Nitro. They've only had a few episodes rated higher than this one. Almost a whole 2-point difference, too. They really kicked the shit out of the WWF this week. Almost 2 million viewers more. So through 54 weeks, Nitro has 35 wins. WWF has 17 and 2 draws. This is the Nitro with a 3.9 rating as the Pyro went all over the America West Arena in Phoenix, Arizona, live on TNT. Bischoff, Heenan, and Tenay will be in the second hour. Zbyszko and Schiavone are in the first hour. Schiavone says we are one day removed from Slim Jim's Halloween Havoc, where the Outsiders are the new tag team champions. Hollywood Hogan has retained the world title, and shockingly, Roddy Piper made his WCW debut appearance by coming out confronting Hollywood Hogan at the end. And we will show you some of that clip tonight on Nitro, they said. The show begins with the commentary team talking about Piper showing up, of course. We open up with Lord Steven Regal defending the TV title against Juventud Guerrera. Lord Steven Regal and Juventud start off with some nice chain wrestling, but then all of a sudden the NWO signs keep coming and the fans are chanting NWO, and then all of a sudden Six comes from a corridor up the stairs in an entrance, and one of the entrances up the stairs in the arena, and Six says that the NWO has all the belts and soon they'll have the Cruiserweight title thanks to him. Regal dropkick Juventud Guerrera, a scoop slam. Juventud Guerrera does another. He comes off the top with a 450 splash attempt, misses. This allows Regal to get an STF variation at Regal stretch. Regal retains the TV title at 3:20. Really good match for a 3-minute 20-second match. 2 stars and a quarter. Tony Schiavone says Sting is here, but still walks out of the box he's from and walks to the back after hearing this. Sting was up top near the rafters in a box. And he didn't have his crow face yet, but he had white face with all black hair, black suit. So Sting was just being ominous, showing that he's a free agent. Zbyszko commented on his colors like he's a yin and a yang with black and white. They show a clip of Luger hospitalizing Arn Anderson last night at Halloween Havoc. DDP takes on Mike Enos. Enos with a lot of good offense until he slides into the Diamond Cutter. Diamond Dallas Page wins at 4:37. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash came out to watch some of the match as they were clapping for DDP. So they looked like they were recruiting and trying to recruit DDP. That's the start of a few months of a build of an angle that they have for the next few months before DDP goes in a feud with Randy Savage. So that's 3/4 of a star. Things are just... Eric Bischoff is just planting seeds all throughout the episode for all these little storylines that are going to break out and become big ones and then lead on to other storylines. So they're doing a very good job creatively. Dean Malenko defends the Cruiserweight title against Jim Powers. I didn't know Jim Powers was a Cruiserweight, but the title's on the line. Teddy Long's with Jim Powers. Malenko's battles out of a standing side headlock. Powers' game is Powers' game. No pun intended. A shoulder tackle, a leapfrog, and a hip toss, and then another leapfrog by Dean into a scoop slam. Psychosis comes to the entrance stage and watches this from the entrance stage. A missile dropkick and an Irish whip, a near fall, a leapfrog, Malenko, then a punch, then a near fall. Malenko hit with a running knee by Powers. Powers with a scoop slam rolls him up, and then Powers was mad trying to talk to Nick Patrick, who was distracted by Teddy Long. Then all of a sudden Malenko went with an inside cradle and won with a black slide. Malenko retains the title at 5:04, rated at a star and 3/4. Next up, Jeff Jarrett tries to go 4-0 on his 4 Nitro appearances 4 weeks in a row. This time he takes on Ricky Morton. Morton was one half of the Rock and Roll Express. Ricky kicked and thrown into the buckle. He comes off with a crossbody and a near fall. An arm drag takedown. Jarrett with a hip toss, but Morton back with an armbar. Morton rides Jarrett for this armbar. Jarrett has every single escape in the book, but Morton slaps the armbar on. He's a veteran. He knows these skills. He knows how to block counter wrestling. An atomic drop, and Double J goes for the leg, and then he slaps a figure 4 on Morton at 4:34. He taps out. Double J goes 4-0. and says WCW is going to be around a long, long time. It started in 1905, but the NWO are going to go down, and Jarrett's going to see that WCW is going to last a long time, and he promises that. Interesting. I think you meant it, too. Giant gets on the mic and bashes the Horseman right after the match, standing by the NWO banner in the same kind of entrance spot up the stairs where you can enter the arena, where 6 was earlier, where the Outsiders were recruiting DDP earlier, or trying to recruit DDP. Hour 2 comes on as the Pyros come on, as Carl Ouellette and Jacques Rougeau are jumped by High Voltage. High Voltage and the real Canadians, the real amazing French Canadians, they're called, Carl Ouellette, Jacques Rougeau, against Robbie Rage and Kenny Chaos. This match went to a no contest at 3:43 and doesn't get rated either. No rating, as it was ended by the Nasty Boys, who cut a promo to save face from NWO beating them up last week. Basically just calling the NWO out, saying that they were nasty before they were the NWO. So the Nasty Boys, again, just looking dangerous. Rey Mysterio takes on Jimmy Graffiti. Jimmy Graffiti made his Nitro debut last week against Malenko in a good match. This night he faces Mysterio, which is one night removed from Halloween Havoc, where Mysterio and Malenko opened the show with a 4.5-star classic. In my opinion, one of the top 100 matches I've ever seen. Ray I have a list of 1,300, so I know that that's one of the top 100 because of the rating of 4.5 stars. I only have around 100 or above 4.5 stars, so I know that it's one of them. Mysterio with a bunch of moves, he shows amazing athleticism to Jimmy Graffiti. Graffiti comes back with a somersault plancha off the apron, and then elevates Ray into the sky, but slams him down to the mat. A drop toe hold, then a Hurricane Rana, and a springboard with a Hurricane Rana into a cradle does it for Graffiti as Mysterio wins 324, rated at 2 stars because it was only went 324. Next up, we would usually get a classic out of this match. It's Benoit versus Eddie. Benoit has Woman with him versus Eddie Guerrero. Benoit and Eddie tie up in the corner. Benoit has injured shoulder. Eddie has injured ribs. And Nick Patrick, the official, has an injured neck. All 3 people in the ring are injured, and you can tell because this is not the usual pace Benoit and Eddie wrestle to. Eddie and Benoit, they go to the corner. They chop each other, but they're not doing their usual moves. Abdominal stretch by Benoit. Eddie Guerrero with the European uppercut. Mongo uses his case on Eddie as the referee was distracted. Woman distracted the referee. And Mongo hit Eddie with the case. Benoit wins the match at 8:23. Rated it 1 star and 3/4. Again, very low score for these guys, but they were both wrestling hurt, and it wasn't the greatest of matches. It was probably their worst match they've ever had. Nick Patrick's attorney comes out and says that Nick Patrick has nothing to worry about. He's not a shady referee. And Chris Jericho comes out. So does Teddy Long. And Teddy Long says that he's holding the likes of Chris Jericho back with his dirty officiating. Booker T takes on Lex Luger. Booker T is dominated by Luger for more of the majority of the match. But then Luger spots Sting up in the crowd. So Luger goes to follow Sting, and he's counted out. Booker T wins by countout. Rated this match 1 star and 3/4. That does it for the match portion of the show. After the match, Luger looked for Sting, but right as he came close, Sting walked away. The show ends with showing a clip of Piper and Hollywood Hogan from the night before. Piper talks about being just as big of an icon in the business as Hulk. Then the NWO come out in real time to their theme music for the first time on Nitro in their history, which is significant. Hogan's in the spotlight as they have the ring blackened, the crowd's all black. The spotlight's just in the middle of the ring on Hollywood Hogan and Ted DiBiase. DiBiase's holding the world title that's spray painted NWO. Hogan says a bunch of things. He takes a shot at Macho Man, saying that he's going to take real good care of Elizabeth. He says that Piper is in his rear view mirror, but if he wants to, he couldn't lace his boots. Hogan says that he sees the fear in his eyes, and the best decision of his life was staying away. Then Hogan does his posing, his ear taunt. DiBiase says that the NWO is ruling the wrestling world. That's basically it. That's week 54 for the Monday Night Wars. The ratings were once again 3.9 to 3 for 2.0. I rate this show a 6 out of 10. It was an average Nitro. Some good matches, a good Mysterio match, a good Malenko match, a decent Benoit Eddie match. It's always decent when they step in the ring, even if it's bad like tonight because they were injured. And the NWO stuff is really getting interesting, especially with Roddy Piper now being in the fold. So that's tonight's Nitro, 6 out of 10. We'll see you on the next Nitro Reviews. I'm Brett Mix. Like and subscribe, and I'm out.